So would you please welcome to the stage my friend Maxime Sigouin.
All right, good afternoon everyone. How you all doing? All right, awesome. So very excited to be here. Steve and I go way back. It's been, like 7 years since we've known each other. So very grateful to be on this stage here. All right, I guess it started. So today what I'm going to share with you is how to improve your body composition on a whole food, plant-based lifestyle. All right, so a lot of people have this belief that it's hard to build muscle, that it's hard to lose fat when you're eating whole food, plant-based, and so I'm going to debunk that for you today. All right. So I'll introduce myself really shortly, right? I built one of the world's top whole food, plant-based body recomposition coaching program. It's my first time on stage, so I'm getting adjusted to everything. So I built the world's top whole food, plant-based body recomposition coaching program. I'm a fitness coach, a Robbins and Madonna certified coach, transformed over 750 people in over 20 countries around the world, and I've done over 25 triathlons, Ironmans, bodybuilding, powerlifting competitions, cycled from Vancouver to San Francisco to raise money for cancer patients. All right, so I've been doing this for a very long time. So I want to go back into my story so you can see some of the crazy transformation that I've been able to bring my body through, which ultimately led me to do the type of work that I do today, and share some of the principles that I've applied to our clients that have now been able to have successful transformations in a sustainable way. So this is me, really early age. I grew up on a farm where we were not vegans, right? So we had our own chickens, we had our chickens for eggs, we had our chicken for meat, we had horses, we had cows, we had geeses, we had 140 acres of land. So I very much grew up you call it a redneck if you want. That's how we described ourselves. So coming from that background, we used to make fun of vegans back in the day, right? Like using these little blocks of plastic, which basically was tofu, which I enjoy now. So from there, we moved to when I was in high school. I grew up really skinny. My whole family is really tall. We're built really lean. And I got picked on, and so I decided that I wanted to put on some muscle and get bigger. And I was also playing basketball, so I was trying to get better at that. That led me to college. I did my first muscle building phase, and that's the first thing that showed me what happens when you implement discipline into a specific goal. I was able to put on 40 pounds over the course of 6 months, and I was able to go play college basketball and actually be competitive. From there, I got recruited through one of my coaches to do a bodybuilding competition. So for those of you who have never done one, it's really challenging. I've only done one for a reason. From that bodybuilding competition, I ultimately developed a disordered eating with food, developed a really unhealthy relationship with food. And from there, I decided that I needed to have another goal that didn't require me to diet so severely, right? I needed something that was more sustainable. And I completely went on the flip side. I'm like, what's the thing I can do that I can be as chunky as possible, eat whatever I want, get strong, and justify it? So, went into powerlifting. I was like, let me eat everything that I can and lift some heavy weights. So what I did is I went on the whole diet. Who here has ever heard of the whole diet? A whole cake, a whole pizza, a whole pint of ice cream? That was my diet. That's basically what I fueled myself with. So I was able to go up to 240 pounds. I got really strong. I was deadlifting like 550 pounds at that point, so off the ground. I can't do that now. My knees are going to break. I was able to do 550 pounds at the time. From there, it was an interesting transition. I got recruited through a friend of mine to step into the modeling industry. So I met an agent. She saw me. She's like, I see something under those big chubby cheeks. I think there's a jawline in there. So I tried losing some weight. So what I did is I went on Google, and I asked Google, what's the fastest way to get the skinniest? Because I was about an extra large in shirt at that time, and I needed to fit into a medium, a small medium shirt. Right? That's a lot of weight that I had to lose. Vegan showed up, and vegans are skinny and weak. I was like, I don't care if I'm weak, I just need to get skinny, right? I just need to get the job done. Disclaimer, you can be strong and be vegan. We've seen a lot of speakers over the last few days. I lost 80 pounds in my first year of going vegan. So I did the opposite of what people should do when they're trying to look great, when they're trying to lose body fat. I stopped resistance training. I did a ton of cardio. I severely restricted my calories, and I just ate fruits and vegetables. I was really low on my intake of nutrition. And ultimately, it led me to work in New York. I worked in Milan, Italy. I worked in Toronto, worked a little bit in LA. And I was in that industry for like 4 or 5 years. It's a very unhealthy industry. All the stories about it are true. And so I decided that I wanted to go in a different direction. All right? So from there, if we fast forward a few years, I decided to cycle from Vancouver, Canada to San Francisco. And we'll get into the story as to why I did that shortly. But basically decided to cycle around 2,000 kilometers, took me about 22 days to get there. Was able to raise a ton of money for cancer patients, and it was really rewarding. After that, I basically got me into triathlon and doing Ironmans because I discovered that endurance sports was really fun and I was actually really good at it. And so I decided to do a ton of competition and kind of show the world what was possible in a whole food plant-based lifestyle when you fueled yourself properly. All right? So the next step I'm going to share with you is a part of my life and my story that completely changed the trajectory of my life. So in 2016, I met my late partner. And within 3 months of us starting to date, she gets diagnosed with breast cancer. And I loved her, and it didn't make sense for me to leave because when there's someone that you love that's going through a hard time, you don't step away, right? Which embarked me on a 4.5-year journey of taking care of her, being her sole provider, bringing her to treatments, and doing everything that was necessary to save her, ultimately. And unfortunately, she ended up passing away just over 3 years ago, and this is where I buried her in one of her favorite spots in Mexico. But during that journey, being there 24/7, I had my grandfather pass away from cancer as well, and I just saw him from time to time. I didn't live with him, right? I didn't get to see like all the ins and outs of what it's like to actually lose your health. And waking up to screams in the middle of the night, having to rush to the hospital, drive to different treatments, seeing when someone you care about not even be able to do some of the basic things in life and wanting to so badly just want to be able to go for a walk outside. But the body being so crippled and so in pain that you can't even go outside for a walk, it just made me realize the actual cost of losing your health. You would give up everything and anything to just get to a pure baseline of just feeling normal, of being able to wake up without any pain in the morning. And so it led me to a few lessons. One is that whatever you think is worth it, isn't. Right? I'm in the online space, so I get comments all the time. I'll put bacon, put burgers, put pizzas, put beer. I'll sleep when I'm dead. I don't have time to exercise. And the truth is, once you get sick, you would take the time to do all of these things, right? You take all of it back. And so one of the things I want to pass on to you is that whatever you think is worth it, isn't. Start taking care of yourself, because the cost of recovering from your health is a lot more than the cost of prevention, right? And the second thing is, as a caregiver, I experienced my level of pain, which was maybe 0.001% of what it's actually like to go through cancer. But the sense of powerlessness that you feel as a caregiver, because you can't solve the problem from someone you care about, and you just want to so badly and you can't do anything, that destroys a person, right? And there's a few caregivers in the room here. And so the reason I'm sharing that is because take care of yourself, because the cost of recovering is far greater than the cost of prevention. And second, there's people that love you. And if you don't take care of yourself, which sometimes those people are the reason as to why you can't work out, they're the reason as to why you're choosing to not eat healthy, those people that you love will be forced to take care of you because you didn't, right? And that's the truth at the end, right? And we've all been there, we've all taken care, like some people a little bit older, like we've taken care of our parents, and we're trying to tell a parent like, hey, I need you to eat more vegetables and more fruits, and they're not listening, and it's frustrating, right? But it's the same role is in reverse as well, right? So you have to take care of yourself. So ultimately, when she ended up passing away, I had already started Fit Vegan coaching because I wanted to help people not end up in her position, ultimately. I understood that if I can get people to eat whole food plant-based, I can get them to move their body, I can get them to have a healthy body weight, that I would greatly reduce the risk of chronic illnesses, right? And so I like to use the analogy of seatbelts. I'm a man of many analogies for you that know me. Eating whole food plant-based, moving your body, prioritizing your sleep is like putting on a seatbelt. If you get into a car accident, you're a lot less likely to die if you have a seatbelt than if you don't, right? There's no guarantees in life. It's not because you eat and live this lifestyle that you will never get sick, but you're putting the chances on your side that you won't, right? This is why I'm preaching this. So after she passed away, I created this mission for myself, which was to help 10,000 people get lean, thrive, and reduce their risk of chronic illnesses by 2033 and 1 million by 2050. We currently just celebrated our 4-year anniversary. We're nearing 800 lives changed. It's getting exponential every year. So we're well on our way to accomplish that. So I just want to show you a few examples of what's possible from our members. The important part, there's a few of those people that are on the photos that are in the stage right now. So I won't call you out. But just one point I want to point out is second from the left, that's my mom. My mom struggled with her weight her whole life. I saw her yo-yo dieting, do Maker's diet, Atkins, had a little container, was eating 15 almonds precisely. She did all of these things. So when I started the company, I was like, let me just help you. So she managed to lose 50 pounds and has kept it off for those 4 years ultimately. She was a part of the first group that I started. So that's what we focus on with our clients is let's lose the weight, but let's actually help you keep it off, right? Because in North America, about 95% of people put the weight back on within 6 months to a year after, right? So there's steps that we can do to reduce the amount of weight that would come back after and reduce the chances of weight coming back after, all right? So two fundamental truths. I want to share these two things with you because it'll make the action plans to improve your body composition a lot easier. If you can understand how your body works and what it's wired for, it's so much easier to be able to manipulate your body. So as you can see, I've been able to transform my body in any way that I want to. And I always like to allude to my age. Yes, I'm on the younger side, but look at our clients. The majority of people we work with are between 45 and 83 years old, right? Those same principles apply. So one of the first fundamental truth is, your body will adapt to your environment. So if all I do all day is I wake up, I sit in my car, I go to work, I sit at work, I come home, I watch TV, I sit on the couch, I will have a body that is built to perform at that environment. If I ask of my body to walk 10 minutes a day, my body will get accustomed to walking 10 minutes a day. If I ask of my body to do some form of resistance training, even if it's at home or exercise at the park, your body will adapt to being able to do that thing. Right? That's why there's people that can go from being on a couch to being able to complete a full Ironman. Right? But it is a matter of time. You need time for your body to adjust to do that specific thing. Right? I'm not saying anyone here has to do an Ironman, but it could just be like losing 20 pounds and being able to do a squat, being able to put something on the top shelf without your shoulders hurting, right? You could be getting off of the bed without feeling like everything is cracking and you're in pain all the time. Right? So fit means something different to everyone. That's something that's important to remember. So your body will adjust to your environment. So whatever stressor you're going to put on your body will have to get adjusted to it. Because your body at its core is a survival machine. That's all it cares about. That's why it brings me to point number 2 is, this is the game that your body is playing every single day. Don't die. It doesn't care that you want to lose weight, doesn't care you want to build muscle, doesn't care about anything else. That's all it plays every single day. Because if it didn't, you would just walk through traffic and not look both ways. Right? So if you look on both sides, you're caring about not dying. So what does that mean? How can we use that to our advantage? So when it comes to fat loss, a lot of time the big component, the hardest component is nutrition, right? A big belief that is out there is that you need to be in a severe calorie deficit if you want to lose a ton of weight. I'm here to say the opposite, because here's what happened. If I grab your food intake and I do whatever people tell you online of removing 500 calories a day to lose a pound a week or 1,000 calories a day to lose 2 pounds a week, if you're a woman and you're maintaining at 2,200 calories, you're now eating 1,100, 1,200 calories per day. I don't know for you, but I'd be hungry. That's almost half your food intake that's gone, right? So if you have this energy intake, and I basically remove a huge chunk of it, right? Now we only have this much energy coming into the body. But naturally, you want to lose weight, right? So you're probably going to increase your cardio, you're probably start to exercise a little bit more, do some yoga, some Pilates, some of these things. So your energy expenditure goes up, your intake goes down. Because your body is trying not to die, it sees the trend. Okay, we're spending this much and we're intaking this much. If we continue this way, we're going to die 10 years early. We're going to run out of fuel, we're going to run out of energy storage, right? So fat, that's all fat is. Fat is stored energy for the future. Your body has not become accustomed yet to the fact that there's a Whole Foods around the corner, right? That there's a Vaughn's around the corner. You think of a Canadian one, a Safeway around the corner, right? Your body does not know you have access to thousands and tens of thousands of calories every single day just through your phone. Your body still thinks that it's in the middle of the desert and you happen to find some food and it's like, great, I'm happy, I'm going to eat this food. But the thing is, you have that repeatedly. So your body is wired to store fat because it is energy for the future. And we know that there's no limit as to how much fat your body can store, right? We just had Chuck on stage. His body was fighting for survival. It was storing that energy for the future. It didn't know that there was going to be a next meal. It didn't know that there was going to be a next meal. And we know stories of people that weigh 600 pounds, 800 pounds, 1,000 plus pounds. And I believe that there's no limit as to how much fat the body can put, because people end up passing away before they get there, right? Your body's just storing energy for the future. It's things that's in the middle of the desert. So how do we use that to our advantage? If I go and I start your fat loss and I just remove 200 calories per day, that's 2 bananas, right? That's like 2.5 dates, really high in calorie dates. That's 2.5 dates, that's 2 bananas per day. It is so little that your body won't have this like alert in the body to go like, oh shit, half of our food is gone, we need to start storing and holding on to it, right? It's just little enough that your body goes like, oh, there's a little bit less here, let's use a little bit of the one that we have stored. Like it's not a significant amount that we need to hold on to it, we can kind of release some of the fat that we have on. So you're basically tricking your body into losing body fat, right? That's only one component of it. And then the other component of it is when you're doing resistance training, you're building more lean muscle, right? You're basically telling your body, I live in an environment where there's a saber-toothed tiger and I have to lift rocks all day to build my house. That's basically what you do when you're going to the gym or you're exercising at home. Your body is like, okay, I need muscle in order to survive in this environment, right? That's all your body is doing all the time. So understanding that when we make drastic changes in our fitness, drastic changes in our nutrition, you just have this alert that turns on in your body and your body goes to survival mode whole to everything, right? So now we understand that the body is just playing this one game of not dying. We're going to go over some of the important components of a transformation. Everyone thinks that it's the nutrition, everyone thinks that it's the fitness, everyone thinks that it's the recovery. But at the end of the day, it comes down to the mindset, right? How many people here have started a fat loss plan or a fitness plan and have not fully followed through on it, right? So then it comes down to mindset, because I can build the best plan for you. If we don't stick to it, nothing's going to change, right? I was like to be upfront with people, I'm not a magician, I'm a coach, right? So I need some type of compliance. But at the end of the day, the mindset component, the thing that makes a big difference is self-sabotage. We don't manage our expectations. We handle stress in a way that doesn't serve us. And so what I want to do is share with you 3 mindset strategies that have served a lot of our members in their transformation. First of all is removing the idea of perfection, right? For some reason, fat loss and fitness seems to be this thing that once we start, everything should go smoothly. You're going to crush the whole thing, be 100% compliant. Who here is a parent? Did it go smoothly? Right? Who here has ever had a new job? Right? Did it go smoothly? Did you make mistakes? Did you learn? Right? There's no other area of life where everything goes perfectly. This isn't different. You're going to have to discover some things about yourself. So at the end of the day, what I tell our clients is focus on progression over perfection. Because if you focus on perfection, you may get started, but as soon as it's not perfect, you just want to give up. You're like, I screwed it up. Too bad. So I'm going to share a weird story with you. Some of you may not have seen this movie. Talladega Nights. Who's ever seen that movie? Right? Will Ferrell? Okay, I'll just quickly say it. So it's a really stupid movie. Basically gets into a car accident. He thinks he's on fire. He thinks he's paralyzed. He's in a hospital. And he's trying to convince his friend that his legs are actually paralyzed. So he grabs a knife, he grabs a fork, and he's like, if I was paralyzed, I wouldn't feel this. And then it's Will Ferrell, right? So he stabs himself in the leg. And then he goes, ah, and starts screaming. And then what happens after that is his friends come in, because it's a stupid movie, they grab knives to try to put it in to remove the fork. And his friend throws in another knife to try to remove the other knife that was trying to remove the fork. That's what self-sabotage is, right? You stab yourself in the leg, take out the fork. Don't continue adding knives, you're just making it worse, right? So when a mistake happens, it's okay, learn from it, move forward, right? So if I can get you to be consistent 51% of the time over 49, you will get to your goal, it'll just take longer, right? Let's think of it logically. If you stick to a plan 100% of the time, you'll get there faster. 90% of the time, take you a little bit longer, but you'll get there. 80% of the time, a little bit longer, but you'll get there. Up until you get to that 50-50 range. 50-50, you make as much progression as you're making regression. So I believe that every single transformation is absolutely doable as long as you don't give up. Because all people, no one ever fails, everyone quits on their journey, right? So that's for progression over perfection. The next one, consistency compounds. Who here has ever invested money? Can you compound $0? If I keep putting $0 in my bank account, is it going to grow to something? No? If I put a penny, is it going to grow to something? If I put $1, it's going to grow even faster, right? So it's the same thing here. If $1 is 100%, there's going to be days where you feel on top of the world. Like, I'm going to work out, I'm going to stick to my nutrition, I'm going to do everything perfectly. Great, you're going to make even more progression, even more compounding. And then there's going to be days where you maybe feel 50%. So you put on 50 cents in your bank account. All right? So when you feel 50%, most people are like, it's not that great of a day, I'll skip the workout today. But I tell our clients, and there's a bunch of them in the audience here, give 100% of that 50%. So if it's just you going to the gym, using half the weight you would use, or just walking on a treadmill, at least you did a deposit. I can compound a penny, I can't compound $0. Right? So just the act of showing up consistently, repeatedly over time will compound to you getting to where you want to. Does it make sense? Right? So I just taught you guys how to make money at the same time. See that? All right. So last one, win the next meal or the next workout. How many of you guys ever gone off track, off of a nutrition plan? Right? What do most people do after? Next Monday, next month, next year, right? What we tell our clients is, hey, if you binge ate on Friday night and you ate 5,000 calories of whatever food you had, my response will be, hey, hope you had a good time, eat your breakfast tomorrow, right? You can never win at the game of compensation, because so many people the next day will be like, let me just cut my food, let me just do a little bit more cardio, let me go for a longer walk, let me do an extra workout, all right? But you never win, because if you do an extra workout, guess what's gonna happen after? You're hungrier. You're gonna eat more food. Obviously, if you cut your food the next day, you may be able to get through, but 2 days after, you're starving. You just ate less food the day before, all right? So win the next meal, win the next workout, never fall into the vicious cycle of trying to compensate. You'll never, ever win that game. I've fallen down that, and that's how I got to 240 pounds, and I justified to myself that I was doing the whole diet so I can get chunky and strong. All right, you'll end up in my position. So I want to teach 5 things that you need to know in order to improve your body composition and reduce the risk of you putting the weight back on after. Because that's the important part. What's the point of losing it if you're only going to put it back on? You did all this effort for nothing, right? So the first thing, I'll show this to my incredible mom. We did a workout with her, I think last year. 58 years young. Look at those biceps, all right? So first thing is being in a calorie deficit. We cannot redefine the laws of thermodynamics. If I was able to, I don't think I would be able to, consume 5,000 calories of fruits and veggies and nuts and seed, and I was to work out 5 times a week, I would still put on fat. That's too much energy coming in from what I'm expending, right? So we do need to be in a calorie deficit. But the beauty about eating whole food plant-based, as Dr. Greger and Chuck and everyone shared, is that it's so much volume, so much fiber, so much vitamins and nutrient. So you get to consume a lot of food and still be in the deficit, and it makes it easier, right? If I make you a Buddha bowl that is 600 calories, you'd probably be really stuffed. Some of you may not be able to finish it. I don't know how many Oreos 600 calories is, but everyone here could eat that stuff pretty easy. You'd still be hungry after, right? So we eat whole food plant-based, you get to consume a ton of food, be in a deficit, and not even feel like you're in a deficit, all right? Obviously, our only complaint in the program, everyone when they come in is like, Coach Maxime, Coach Sarah, it's too much food. I can't eat all of it. Like, you're trying to lose weight, that's a good problem to have, right? So that's the beauty of eating whole food plant-based. So you need to be in a deficit because if you're over, you put on some weight. If you're under, you're going to lose some weight. If you're too much under, your body will hold on to body fat. We covered that, right? So if you want to have like some theoretical numbers to kind of go with, just go online, type TDEE, Total Daily Energy Expenditure Calculator, all right? Punch in your height, your weight, level of activity, all that fun stuff. It'll give you a theoretical number. That is a theoretical number, right? Doesn't mean it's for you, just on average, people that are in that situation, that's how much food you should consume. Only remove 200 calories from that. Don't remove 500, don't remove 1,000. I know it sucks, we're all impatient, we want the results yesterday, right? But at the end of the day, going that sustainable road will allow you to not be hungry. It'll allow you to develop a healthy relationship with food and help you to kind of deal with the things that you need to deal in order to be able to keep the transformation, right? Second point, protein. I'm not gonna be the bodybuilder on stage that's gonna be like, I want you to eat as much protein as possible. But we do need to put a certain emphasis on protein when we're looking at shifting your body composition. If you're an active individual that's looking to build muscle and decrease the amount of body fat you have on your body, you need to put a little bit of an awareness on it. So around 1.2 gram to 1.6 gram per kg of body weight. So that is a lot less than the typical number you'll hear online of 1 gram per pound of body weight. Again, we're almost nearing 800 transformations, and that's a ratio that we've played with, and we've gotten incredible transformational people. Once we start to go a little bit lower than that 1.2, for someone that is physically active and looking to improve their body composition, people start to look a little bit softer, right? There's like less tone in the muscle, right? So ultimately, with these 2 components, you should be able to start a transformation, right? Eat whole food plant-based, eat a variety, be in your calorie deficit, hit your protein. That's simple, right? Transformation is really simple. It's just a math game, The hard part is what's in between your 2 ears is going to come in the way. That's why these little mindset tricks I shared before, so it's going to make a big difference, right? The third one here, resistance training. Like I mentioned earlier, your body will adapt to the environment that you create for it. So whatever you demand of your body, it will get adjusted to because it has to survive. And so at a minimum, we like to make our members resistance train at least 3 times a week because it has to be constant enough of a stressor on the muscle for it to have a reason to adapt, right? And again, I know we're talking about resistance training and a workout program, but we've had members that always started with their exercise was literally, let's just sit on a chair, let's get back up, right? It could be push-ups on the wall, push-ups on your kitchen counter. Start with where you're at and you'll be able to increase over time. I know it would be fun to start and everyone can do push-ups and chin-ups and do all of those exercises, but you have to start where you're at, and I promise you, you'll be able to get there regardless of your age. But I remember Anne, I can't remember her age, she's in her 60s, but she's doing like 2-3 pull-ups in a row right now. And she started not being able to do them, right? So age is a number, we just have to kind of slowly work our way towards that. The benefits of resistance training, a few of them, it helps with hormone balancing, but a big one is it helps with bone strengthening. So as we get older, 2 things are going to happen. There's going to be a decrease in lean muscle mass, going to be a decrease in bone density. So doing bone-bearing activity helps to strengthen the bones. So that could be, yes, you can go to the gym if you want to, but a lot of people that we work with don't necessarily want to go to the gym. So it could just be resistance band at home. Right? It could be resistance band at home. If you want to, it could be a reusable IKEA bag because there's 30. Put some cans of beans in there and do your exercises with it. Your body does not care about the tool that you're using. All it knows is resistance against gravity. Is this heavy? Is this challenging for me to move it? That's all your body cares about. So if it's a dumbbell, kettlebell, band, water bottle, whatever it may be, start with what you have. Right? Fourth one, heart training. I didn't write cardio because some people have a visceral reaction to cardio. It's like, oh, I hate it, I don't want to do this. But here's the truth about heart training. You can have the biggest biceps in the world. If your heart gives out, you still die, right? So we want to make sure that we train your heart. It's very important that you do that, right? That's the thing that keeps you going. It's great to look great, but you ought to make sure you're able to last a long time, right? So doing cardiovascular exercise is really important. Again, it could just start off with some walking, it could be some jogging. Like, I'll just, out of show of hand, who hates running here? There's a lot of you guys. Okay, I'm not the only one. Even though I did Ironmans, I hate running too. I just did it because it was a part of it. If you hate running, go cycling, go swimming, go dancing, go rollerblading, go play soccer, basketball, whatever thing that you like that gets your heart rate going, do that. All right? You don't have to do running. Running has nothing special about it. Most people end up getting injured, to be honest with you. So do something that you enjoy for your heart training. Right? And then the last point is reverse dieting. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time on this. Who's ever heard of reverse dieting before? Perfect. A few of them are clients. Awesome. Have you guys heard of it? So reverse dieting is basically the process to speed up your metabolism after a transformation, which is the part that most people do when they lose weight. Right? When you're done losing the weight, as we slowly decrease the food, as we slowly increase the exercise and basically trick your body into losing fat and building muscle, your body at the end has a slower metabolism. It is normal, there's nothing we can do about it. But the thing is, with a slower metabolism, it turns your body into like a sponge. So once you're done a fat loss, what most people do, if they do it in an unsustainable way, where they kind of starve themselves and do exercise that they don't really enjoy, they go like, party, let me just go eat whatever I want. I'm trying to revert back, I've been waiting to have a pizza, I've been waiting to have like some vegan donuts or whatever it may be. But your body's like a sponge. It's going to soak that back as fat because, again, it just thinks it's been in the desert for a long time, haven't had access to a lot of food, so it wants to store it for the next time you make it go through that stuff. All right? So, reverse dieting. We're going to use the analogy of a flame. Who here's ever gone camping? All right, who's ever started a fire before? Right? Legally, hopefully. Right? Yeah. So, you have a small flame. When you start a fire for you to go camping, are you going to throw a massive log of wood on it? No, can't handle it. Right? The flame is too small. So how do you make a small flame bigger and you're not allowed to use gasoline? Right? You throw smaller pieces of wood on it over time, and then that fire is going to grow. And eventually you can handle the log. Eventually you can handle a forest, right? You can handle everything. So how do you do that with the body? Your body has a really small metabolism. We're just going to slowly add more food. So that could look like, let's just say you end your fat loss phase at 1,500 calories. So I'm talking for women. Men, it would be a little bit higher. And I was like, hey, let's just add 100 calories per day for a week. All right, so we're going up to 1,600 for a week. So that's an extra banana per day. It's not really sexy. It doesn't sound like the thing you want to do after you're done losing the weight, but it is necessary. If I give you an extra banana per day, your body will go like, great, I've been low in energy, let me digest it and process it and utilize it because I need more energy. If I go and I give an additional 600 calories per day, your body will be like, great, let me ingest this, let me use a little bit of energy, but let's store it as fat, because we don't know the next time we'll have that much of abundance of food. So when you slowly increase your food like that every single week and you monitor how your body is progressing, you're able to trick your body into being able to digest more food and process more food while maintaining your weight. So at the end of a reverse diet, on average, we can add 800 to 1,000 calories of food intake. 800 to 1,000 calories of food intake. And the 80% of the time, people stay the same weight. 10% of the time, some people lose a little bit more weight. The other 10% of the time is worst case scenario, and people put on a pound or two for 1,000 calorie trade-off. That's a pretty good spot to be. We've had people lose 70 pounds, 80 pounds, stay the same weight, and eat more food at the end. So if you don't do the reverse dieting, it is absolutely not worth it to do the fat loss phase. I recommend that you just do it right one last time, and then you're done with it. Reverse dieting, here's a number, it takes 4 months to do. Right? I know it's not a sexy number after you've worked hard and lost all of the weight. The truth is you can go up to a year and you get as great of results, but I understand that it's not really sexy to do it for a year after you've lost all the weight. So 4 months is the fastest we can go. Anything less than that, we start to see a higher gain of fat loss if you go too fast. All right? So, that is it for me. I see it's coming back on. If you guys want to scan that QR code, I host a show called The Fit Vegan Podcast. We have a YouTube channel, Instagram, Facebook, website. All of it's going to be linked on there. And this is a fun photo from our workshop that we just had 2 days ago.
Yeah, hi, my name is Rohan and I'm from Seattle. I had a question about fitness trackers, right? And specifically in the phase where you've lost weight, right? You've kept it off, but I mean, there's all this junk food kind of in this world around you, right? Are fitness trackers effective? Like, do they play any effective role in this, in this time frame? And if they do, then is there one that you would recommend?
Yeah, great question. So fitness trackers, there's some good ones, there's some bad ones. So in terms of calorie count, none of them are going to be super accurate, to be honest with you. They're really deceiving. And a lot of people will use that number as a means to justify eating more food if they burn more calories. Never do that. So just one of my favorite ones is a tracker. So this one I have on my wrist here. Not because of the fitness component, but because it tracks my sleep. Whoop. Yeah, WHOOP. So it tracks your sleep, so it gives you a recovery score every single morning. It's like, hey, you're 50% recovered, 70% recovered, 100%, 10% recovered. And based off of that number, it takes into account like your daily strain, your resting heart rate, your HRV, which stands for heart rate variability, which is the pauses, the average of the pauses between your heartbeats. It's been shown to be a direct indicator of how recovered your body is, meaning how much stressor it can take on for the day. So I know if I wake up at 10%, I'm not gonna go run a half marathon. Right? If I wake up at 90%, I can pretty much do whatever I want for the day. So I feel like that's good feedback for me to improve my sleep, because I know if I have good sleep, I can work out better, it's easier to make the right choices for nutrition. The better you sleep, the less cravings you have. Yes?
Follow-up question.
Yeah.
So my follow-up question, I'm an avid Apple Watch user. I've got the Apple Watch Ultra. I've been using Apple Watches for a long time. I find them helpful during the activity, not so much for the calorie counting, but just in general, this like sense of accountability, pace, how often, how long, like just something to gamify it. Do you find the gamifying side of it and like just having something like haptic feedback to tell you like split 1, split 2, like all of that kind of stuff, is that helpful?
That'll be based on your personality. So if you do like to gamify it, go for it, right? And some of our people don't like data, they just don't want to wear wearable text. But for you, if it does make it fun and game and you like to see your check boxes kind of be checked as you do your workouts, definitely go for it, right? Like I know Oura Ring and Whoop are 2 ones. Apple One is obviously a really popular one. Apple Watch is a popular one as well. Yeah.
Okay, we got time for 2 more questions. Right here.
Hi, Stephanie from Seattle. When it comes to trying to get into like a calorie deficit, you were talking about how like calorie counting apps and stuff like that, they're not like the most reliable. How would you go about making sure that you're staying within a deficit if it because it kind of seems like you have to count calories in order to understand like where you're at.
Yeah.
So what would be some recommendations for making sure that you're within the area that you need to be?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm going to name one. I know a lot of you guys are going to hate it, so I'm not going to recommend that one, but I'll just still say it. Like MyFitnessPal chronometer allows you to track your food, but it's a lot more work, right? Because you got to do it every single meal. Another big thing is what we do for our clients, I'm going to recommend people do if you don't want to track your food, is create a rough meal plan for yourself of foods that you like to eat. So just take one day, go on an app like MyFitnessPal or Chronometer, and be like, I like eating a stew for lunch, for example. Punch in all your ingredients and kind of the serving sizes, make a sample day of what you would like to eat, and then that way you can kind of just repeat that every day. You can change the vegetables, you can change the fruits, you can change the grains, you can change the protein sources, but at least if the portions are the same, you're pretty much guaranteed to still be in a calorie deficit. So just build a guideline for yourself of what the foods that you like to enjoy and the eating structure that you like to enjoy. If you like to eat 3 times a day, 4 times a day, 2 times a day. Right?
Just to follow up, one thing that I found when I was going through my weight loss was that I didn't have to do chronometer. That's the one that I used. I didn't have to do it indefinitely. It took me about a month to 6 weeks to kind of cycle through everything that I might eat and then kind of get an idea of what was going on with my particular favorite meals and portion sizes and how I cooked it, that I got a sense of like, oh, this is what 1,800 calories feels like or 2,000 calories feels like, and this is what this meal is worth versus this meal is worth, etc. This ingredient, and very soon you begin to realize how much you're actually consuming, and you kind of internalize it, especially when you're trying to stay conscious to what it is you're doing. It doesn't take very long before you're like, oh, I know what this amount of food is calorically speaking, right? But you do have to do it kind of in a dedicated fashion to begin with, so that you do gain that knowledge. Yeah, I found it was very helpful. It's sort of living in a state of denial if you're just like, I don't want to know how many calories is in this. I found that extremely hard to maintain. So once I learned it and understood it, it became, frankly, really empowering.
I'm just going to compare it to finances. Like, would you operate your life without ever looking at your bank account? You're just spending endlessly. And then you open your bank account, like, hoping that it's not a negative. It's the same thing for your nutrition. But yeah, eventually you know. You look at food, you're like, I know this rice and this tofu and this vegetable, I know it's pretty clean. But it is a good exercise if you've never done it before to kind of track, so you have an understanding of where you're at, because you may be shocked. Some food have like so much oil or so much calories hidden in them, and you're like, oh shit, I'm eating 3,500 calories and I should be at 2,300. I was like, I understand why I'm not losing weight now. Yeah.
Okay, last question in the back row.
Hi, I'm Gina. I'm from Seattle. Quick question. I think you may have already answered it. How do you know when you have taken in enough protein?
Oh yeah, so basically you want to eat around 1.2 gram to 1.6 gram per kg of body weight. So I know it's a conversion, so grab your weight divided by 2.2 and do times 1.2. And that'll give you the number.
Thank you very much for spending your time with us here today. We loved it, brother.